I want to take this opportunity to thank the Medford Cooperative Bank and its president, Bob Sarabian, for their generous support of the exhibit of our Civil War photos at the Museum of our National Heritage in Lexington.
Of the Medford Historical Society, and at this time I'd like to ask the President, Jay Griffin, to step up here and say a few words.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, even Joanne with us tonight. There are a lot of people that have put in a lot of hours at the Historical Society, and at this time, I'd like to ask Mayor McGlynn to come forward, and Noah Denon. Noah Denon and Arlene Generazzo are really responsible for what you're seeing here tonight, along with Dr. Valeriani, who is not with us tonight. These pictures were found many, many years ago, and Dr. Valeriani and I thought they were probably reproductions because they were so good. And over 10 years ago, Noah looked at the pictures and took it upon himself to do some research, call in some people, all as a result of his son being in Arlene Generazzo's class. And come on up. And Brian was in her class, saw the pictures, Noah became involved, and things have mushroomed ever since. The Medford Historical Society was a sleepy little organization, and today is recognized all over the world as having one of the finest collections of Civil War photos in the United States. The first place that they were really displayed and got notoriety was at Tufts University. Dr. DiBiagio, president of Tufts, is with us this evening, and I'd like to publicly thank him because during his inaugural, as we've just discussed, they were brought out and many people saw them for the first time, and at the Edickman Arts Center, they were first seen by the general public. After that, we had a showing at the International Center of Photography in New York City, and tonight here in Lexington. And Bob Sarabian, president of the bank, if you'd come over, Bob. Bob is the person who's responsible for funding this tonight. We always try to get a corporate sponsor, and the Medford Cooperative Bank has always been there for the Historical Society, no matter what the event that we're trying to hold. I'd like to thank my two daughters, Ashley and Elizabeth, because at the Historical Society, you put in an awful lot of hours, and everybody has to give a little time. And I'd like to thank my girlfriend, Janet, because she babysits a lot of the times that I have to be down at the Historical Society. It's not just this exhibit this year, but we have 3 exhibits that have taken place. We had one at the Tufts University, which was the Incredible Ditch. Tom Dayhill's original artwork was displayed. We have this evening, the landscapes of the Civil War. And next Saturday, you're all invited to another party at the Historical Society. We are going to have the Distilling of History, in which we talk about the slave trade, rum, and the shipbuilding. So I think it's a proud night for the city of Medford, and also really for the Historical Society. We've been around since 1896. No one receives a salary. All this is done because people love history. And as I said earlier, Arlene brought Noah's son. Noah became involved. Noah didn't know anything about this tonight because I didn't want to get him nervous. But We're going to have several presentations. First, Mayor McGlynn, Mayor of Medford, would like to say a few words, and he'll make a presentation to Mr. Denon.
Thank you, Jay. Jay, I don't know any organization you have ever been involved in that's been a sleepy little organization. Jay has more energy than most people in the city and keeps all the organizations that he's involved with moving forward. But for this particular display and for this night and for the great credit that's been brought to our community, the quality of life in the community, and the recognition to the Massachusetts Historical Society, we owe to Noah Denon. Because Noah was the gentleman, as Jay said, who went in, who had a great interest in history, who had a great sense of curiosity, who looked at the photos and felt that they should be verified for their authenticity, when many within the society felt that because they were so good, they were reproductions. But because of Noah's guidance and direction and advice, we found out that there's a collection of 5,400 photos that is of great value and dates back to a favorite of mine, Samuel Crocker Lawrence, who was the first mayor of the city of Medford in 1892, but prior to that was the general at the Battle of Bull Run on July 21st, 1861. So Noah helped to bring that history forward and helped us to celebrate it here tonight. And on many other occasions, whether it was in New York City or at Tufts University or at the Historical Society itself. So on behalf of all of the elected officials and the citizens of our community, I would like to present him with the following citation, thank Noah, and ask him to come forward. The city of Medford, Massachusetts, one of America's earliest settlements, founded in 1630, incorporated a city in 1892. Be it hereby known to all that the mayor, on behalf of the citizens of Medford, offers sincerest congratulations to Robert Noah Denon in recognition of your 10 years of outstanding and dedicated service to the Medford Historical Society. The people of Medford extend their very best wishes and express the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. In testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the city, given this 30th day of April, 1999, Michael J. McGlynn, Mayor. Noah, thank you and congratulations.
Calling you in a minute. We also have a presentation by Councilor Penta representing the legislative body in the city of Medford. And Robert, if you'll come forward.
I have a unique opportunity here tonight because for some of my colleagues in city government in Medford, my early childhood was spent living in the town of Lexington, a place that maybe someday I think I would like to come back to and share that for which I've been able to accomplish in the city of Medford, being a legislator for some 24 years, and I've enjoyed it. But I have to say something about serving in government. There are certain things that you come across in your life that sort of like makes you feel good. And what makes me feel good tonight is not being in this community, but it's knowing that the folks of this community, like our community in the city of Medford, and knowing that historical committees and commissions throughout the entire world, never mind the city of Medford, can recognize that for which we have, and that's respecting what our history was all about. And if anybody does follow history and where history comes from and where it's gone, there was a lapse in time where history really had no place for anyone to want to understand, to keep it, to cherish it, and to nourish it. And I think we're very fortunate here tonight to not only share between the city of Medford and the town of Lexington, but the community for which this place houses, which you're going to see in a few minutes, probably something that if you think about it in depth, will tell you that it's probably one of the most scariest of opportunities that the country of America ever had to become disunited. If you look at the pictures, what you'll be able to see is the faces, the youth, the energy of a part of this country that if it continued to have gone forward, it not only would have wanted to separate the North from the South, it would have wanted to separate this country economically. And maybe the United States and America would not be what it is today. But fortunately, good overcame bad, and this country became united. I would like to just say one thing in behalf of Noah Denon. I didn't get to really know Noah Denon until the issue of the Brooks Estates in our city of Medford, some 53 acres, came to light. And because of his energy and the energy of those people that partook in restoring that piece of property and keeping it part of the historical culture in the city of Medford, I just think, again, is added testimony to the fact that we have people that work behind the scenes, we have people that really don't look for recognition, we have people who are there ready, willing, and able to do it. And like the mayor of our community, and on so many occasions comes out and recognizes folks for their work, so too in our legislative body, we're equally as complimentary and we're equally as grateful for those individuals. So what I would like to do is make a presentation at this point in time. And the funny part about this is when I came home from work today, I forgot my glasses. So I had to call upon one of my loyal neighbors to borrow their glasses. So bear with me. My wife tells me it's a sign of my age, but this is an official proclamation from the City of Medford, the Medford City Council, dated April 30th, 1999, offered by myself, City Councilor Robert Penter, on behalf of the Medford City Council. Be it resolved that the City of Medford congratulate Robert Noah Denon on his dedication to the preservation of historical artifacts representative of the United States history. Noah's uncovering of more than 4,500 Civil War photographs have greatly accelerated the Civil War review and intrigue of our nation's history. With gratitude and the best of God's blessings wished upon him, I, on behalf of our city, wish upon you and our community, wishing you to say thank you and carry on. No, where are you? No.
I didn't see Caesar, but Caesar's here tonight. Caesar Fortunato is the house manager and has put in a lot of hours this spring with the group from Tufts University. Ken Torino, I don't know if he's here or any of the students from Tufts, but we have an exhibit coming up. There's Ken over there from the Lynn Museum. So the Historical Society has really tried to work with the university, with other institutions, also with this particular institution in New York City. We really want these photos to travel the world so that people can see the collection that we have and the importance of this particular collection. So I'd like to thank all the members of the Historical Society that showed, the Royal House Association, and the Medford Brooks Estate Land Trust. We're very fortunate we have 3 different organizations in the city that promote history. And thank you all. Hope you enjoy the evening, and we're going to have some music later on. Thank you.
Jay, thank you very much for those words. I'd also at this time like to recognize one of the major lenders, other lenders to the exhibit, Jack Naylor, who kindly allowed us to use some of his very rare daguerreotype cameras in the exhibit. I'd also like to thank David Smith, President of the Civil War Roundtable for Greater Boston, and the kind offices that he provided in promoting this particular exhibit. At this time, I'd like to introduce the guiding light behind this exhibit, our guest curator, Lori Noel. Lori is a doctoral candidate in the American Studies program at Boston University, and serendipitously for us and for her, she was chosen as the person to put this exhibit all together for us. And now I'd like to hear a few words from Lori Noel. Lori?
Thank you. I don't know if John introduced himself, but he's John Hamilton, the interim director of the museum and curator of collections here at the Museum of Our National Heritage. When Cheryl Robertson, the exhibitions director, hired me for this position, one of the first things she told me was how wonderful it was to work here at the museum, and she was right. The staff here is professional and welcoming and supportive. I can't say how much I've benefited from the sharing of ideas and exchange in the process of putting this exhibition together. On behalf of the museum, I'd like to recognize Michael Rizzo, the exhibition designer. He's responsible for showcasing these photographs in the best possible light. He did an excellent job under less than ideal conditions. I'd also like to recognize Tom Keening, the preparator, who has placed the objects on view here as well. Laura Lamar Anderson, the program director, public programs coordinator, has organized a wonderful program of events to go on in conjunction with this exhibit at the museum. And I would encourage you to pick up one of these flyers at the main desk. It outlines events for the summer and into the fall. Ann Starr spent countless hours proofreading and typing labels and giving me expert editorial advice. And I can't thank her enough for her guidance in this project. I'm personally very grateful to Jack Naylor, who generously gave of his time and expertise, as well as his photographic collection. Twice he showed me through his own private museum and helped me understand the intricacies of the photographic process in 19th century America. And of course, Noah Denon, who shared his story and enthusiasm with me at a time when his focus and energy needed to be directed towards far more important things. I'm very pleased that he's here tonight. Sunday at 2 o'clock, Noah will present a slideshow here at the museum of over 100 photographs that are not in this collection. They're from the Medford collection, but they're not in this exhibition. I'm also very glad to see Richard Fox here tonight. Richard Fox first introduced me to the notion that as historians we can and must learn to read photographs as well as written texts to gain insight into American history and culture. The first time I wrote about a Civil War photograph was for a class Richard taught during my junior year in college. I think he might appreciate the sense of serendipity I felt when I began working on the landscapes of the Civil War in August and discovered that the photograph I wrote about then is in this exhibition. Seeing that photograph in this collection was like running into an old friend. And as I worked on this exhibition, I found myself returning to it again and again. To me, the photograph of the ruins of Gallego flour mills in Richmond eloquently summarizes the story of the Civil War. I love a good story. Most historians do. After all, that really is what history is all about, the telling and retelling of stories in a quest to understand who we are and how we got that way. The history of the photographs in this exhibition is the sort of story that inspires historians. It's a fantasy story. A small local historical society discovers that the chest of old pictures in its attic represents one of the largest and best preserved collections of Civil War photographs in existence. It's also a love story. Noah Denon's fascination with Civil War history drew him to study the pictures he found. and to share them with others. And since 1990, the Medford Historical Society has worked hard to conserve its collection. Lastly, it's a great mystery. Why did Samuel Crocker Lawrence choose to collect 5,400 photographs of the Civil War? We know his firsthand experience of the war was intense but brief. After being wounded and left for dead on the battlefield of Bull Run, he returned to Medford to continue his life as a wealthy businessman and general of the state militia. Perhaps he acquired the photographs for strictly historical purposes, to maintain a record of the most cataclysmic event in 19th century American history. As so many others who survived the war did, that the Civil War would become the seminal event in his own life and in the modern life of the nation. We may never know. One reason why popular interest in Civil War history has remained so strong over the years is because for many Americans, it represents a national morality play acted out across the landscape of a divided country. We turn to this period to reassure ourselves that when 19th century Americans reached the mythical fork in the road, they were willing to make hard choices between right and wrong and good and evil, and ultimately to unite and to follow the same path. But to consider the Civil War strictly in this manner limits us to seeing it only in black and white. As the photographs on display here demonstrate, much detail and significance rests in warm shades of gray. As curator of this exhibit, the question I've most frequently been asked is why I think these photographs are so important. Is it because of their historical value or their aesthetic appeal? Are they history or are they art? It has been a divisive issue. Most questioners come down firmly on one side or the other. These photographs are historic documents. They are also objects of great beauty. The more I look at them, the more I come to believe they cannot be fully appreciated as either history or art. Their haunting beauty is timeless, but it also reveals much to us about the very real feelings and beliefs of 19th century Americans. These photographs are storytellers, and each one of them tells us a part of the complex story of the American Civil War. Please go and enjoy the photographs.
Hi, my name's Jay Griffin. I'm president of the Medford Historical Society, and today I'm with Bob Sarabian, president of the Medford Cooperative Bank. They were the sponsors of the event that you just saw. The Civil War photos have been on display and will be on display up in Lexington until January next year. Bob, do you have anything to say? I'd like to personally thank him for all of the support, not just for this particular exhibit, but for exhibits that we've done up at Tufts University and other things around the community.
Well, Jay, it's a pleasure for the bank to be able to sponsor this Civil War exhibit, as you say, which will continue until January. And everybody should get out to the Museum for Our Heritage located in Lexington. It's a wonderful display.
And the bank now has a branch in Lexington, so
Yes,
you're
we
a
do.
neighbor and a partner in the city of Lexington. I want to thank the Medford Cooperative Bank and Mr. Sarabian in particular for the continued support of all the activities that the Medford Historical Society organizes in the community for the benefit of its citizens.
You're welcome, Jay.